What's going on, guys? Welcome to Tech Savvy Buyer. So today we're going to talk about the Switch and the Switch Lite and why you should consider jailbreaking these devices in 2020. So I'll cover all the cool things you can do with this, what are some of the risks that are associated with doing it, as well as what are some of the cool things you actually get by jailbreaking your Switch. What we will not be talking about is how to jailbreak it in this video, since Nintendo is super sensitive about that, but I'll give you guys a bit of an overview in a nutshell of what exactly goes on in the process. So before we get started with all this cool stuff, let's get a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by GVGMall.com. GVG Mall carries a wide variety of game currencies and gift cards that you could use to take your gaming to the next level. If you're looking for a fresh copy of Windows or Microsoft Office, then you can certainly find those on GVGMall.com as well. They are priced very competitively and offer legit copies of Microsoft software. You can pick up a copy of Windows 10 Pro for under 15 bucks. Visit GVGMall.com for more information and use code TSB to save during checkout. So you clicked on this video because you're contemplating the idea of jailbreaking your Switch. So let me show you what you guys can actually do with a jailbroken Switch. So one of the really cool things that you can actually do with a jailbroken Switch is play a bunch of different emulators and play all kinds of games that you like. You can easily load RetroArch onto your Switch and play games from your Sega Genesis, from your Super Nintendo, even PlayStation 1 and PSP games as well. So it's definitely a cool thing to see Sony's first handheld console being replicated on Nintendo's latest handheld console. Definitely a cool thing to do. Aside from that, you get a wealth of opportunities to play different homebrew applications such as Doom, and being able to take Chocolate Doom portable with you on a Switch is definitely a cool factor in and of it itself. Those are some really neat things that you can do with just having a jailbroken Switch. In addition to that, you get access to a lot of other things that Nintendo did not initially offer for the system. So such as being able to play videos from it, and there's even a few developers out there that have gone ahead and made a ported Linux version for it, so you can run a whole different operating system on your Switch, and you can also run Android on your Switch. So these are, like I said, just a few cool things that you can really do with your Switch once it is unlocked and jailbroken and ready for you to go ahead and customize. Now there's a bunch of other things that you can do with this as well. I especially enjoy the fact that you can load all the different types of emulators and play all these games on the go without having any major issues with it. A couple other notable factors and things that you can do with your Switch is that you're also able to share your saves from game to game on different systems. Now, one of the ways that Switch's game sharing works, or their saved system works, is kind of tedious at most, and I might not be the best person to tell you guys how that process works, but what I can tell you is that it's a lot easier when you have a jailbroken Switch to play around with their save files, even edit them, or even create more slots to save your game. So a big example of that would be like Zelda Breath of the Wild, where you only have one save slot. With the jailbroken Switch, you can actually create additional save slots for yourself so that you can play multiple times in the game and just have different save slots all over the place for yourself. So in a nutshell, that's basically some of the biggest features. Now I'm sure you're also wondering, with a jailbroken Switch, are you able to play backups of games? And the answer is yes, fortunately and unfortunately. So the fortunate part of that is yes, you'll actually be able to take your own physical cartridges, put them in the game card slot, and back them up onto your existing SD card that's inside your Switch. That eliminates the need for you to have to take any of your game cartridges around with you as you travel around, and you have all that information stored on your SD card. I actually also noticed that it boots up the games a little bit quicker. Now if you don't own the game, there's also a web store available on the Switch that allows you to download any of the games that you want. So aside from having access to a library of thousands upon thousands of different games from different generations and different consoles in general that are allowed and usable through jailbreaking your Switch, you also have a lot of customization options that you can take advantage of. You're able to change your theme and make it look completely different than the stock user interface that comes on the Switch. And the best part is you can customize it to however you like it. There's tons of different material out there from all kinds of developers that constantly update the stores with their versions or their takes on what a theme or a nice theme might actually look like for the Switch. So there you have it, guys. That's pretty much the benefits that you get for having a jailbroken Switch. Now, a lot of it has to do with games and customization, being able to play things on here that you wouldn't normally be able to play with, and also taking advantage of the hardware and using it for other things, such as running Android on there and such as running Linux on there as well. So now that we've squared away what are the benefits of getting your system jailbroken, let's talk a little bit about how you can go down that route. Now, by all means, this video is not going to show you exactly how you can jailbreak it, and I'm not ever going to do that on this channel just because of YouTube's community guidelines as well as Nintendo's policing these days. So with that out of the way, I would like to say that there are a couple of ways that you can go ahead and jailbreak your Switch. Now, if you had an older Switch that came out back in 2017, chances are you have one of the unpatched models, and you'll hear this term a lot. All that means is essentially you can use an RCM jig/payload little tool that allows you to bypass something inside the Switch and give you access to installing Homebrew on it. Now, if that isn't a Switch that you currently have, or if you have a Switch Lite, then you'll have to go through a hardware modification, which involves the use of a mod chip. And as of this moment, the only two popular mod chips that you can purchase for each one are the SX Cores and the SX Lites. Both of these are hard modifications for your Switch, which means you'd have to open it up and do some soldering. And guys, even as experienced as I am in soldering, this is not a task for the faint-hearted. So you definitely have to reach out to someone who does this. And honestly, it's a very, very hard thing to do because it's all being policed by Nintendo right now. So it's unfortunate to see that a lot of people abuse getting different types of chips and homebrew setups or jailbreaking their devices just to play game backups. And that's really not the intention for it. There's a large community of developers out there that put in a lot of work and effort to bring other features and suites available to these consoles, with the exception of just looking at games. But in all honesty, to answer the question, guys, should you jailbreak your Switch in 2020? Absolutely. So we've talked about all of the pros on this. Now let's talk about the big question, or the big elephant in the room, shall we? And that is, what are the cons of actually jailbreaking your Switch? So as I mentioned in the start of this video, we'll cover those right now. Now, basically, the biggest con that you can get with jailbreaking your Switch is getting your account banned and ultimately rendering your Nintendo Switch useless. And the reason is once your system gets banned, it's tied to a username which is associated or linked with your Nintendo ID, which is tied to your Switch. So it basically just turns into an offline paperweight. You can still continue to play games with it, but you're not going to be able to take this online and engage in any of the Nintendo Store opportunities that are out there. So with that being the biggest risk that there's still ways around it by making sure that you're in airplane mode and not using, the specific OS that's on the Switch, that you create emunan backups and whatnot. It's a whole wormhole of its own to get into. And I suggest that if you guys are interested in that, you could definitely protect yourself from getting banned. However, with that being said, it is a very real risk, and it can render a $300 gaming console pretty much into a useless paperweight at that point if you're not going to be using it for anything other than online play. So keep that in mind. Aside from that, there really aren't any other cons. Only the risk of being banned is the biggest con by far. There's really nothing negative about having a custom OS on your Switch, being able to stream your PC games over to your Switch, which is another cool feature that you can do once you jailbreak your Switch. So the possibilities are limitless when it comes to having a jailbroken device. And now that the Switch Lite has finally gotten a mod solution to let you run Homebrew on it, I'm going to be making an updated video to compare this bad boy with my all-time favorite handheld, which is the PS Vita. Now, if you guys have been followers of my channel for any time or any amount of time, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of the PS Vita, and I think it is a stellar device. However, now with the Switch having the ability to do most, if not everything that the Vita can do, it's time to make an updated video, and I will be dropping one of that soon in the near future. But anyways, guys, I hope this video was helpful for you in figuring out if you want to go ahead and jailbreak your Switch. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be doing my best to point you in the right direction if I don't know the answer or fielding them myself. But if you guys enjoyed this content, please go ahead and smash that like button as well as the subscribe button so that you guys are up to date with all of my new content. It was a pleasure doing this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it was able to help you. And as always, stay smiling, and I will see you guys on my next one. Peace out.